I wanted to make this video to demonstrate an issue with Proton VPN's kill switch on macOS, namely that it does not protect your IP address when you switch servers, even though their documentation says that it should. So to show you this, it's a pretty simple test that I'm guessing pretty much anyone can replicate, but I'll go ahead and enable the kill switch in their client here and connect to just a random server. And we'll give it a second. And then we can see now that I'm connected, I can refresh this page, and instead of showing my real IP address, it will show the IP address of the Proton server as you would expect. Then we can go ahead and connect to a different server. And if I go ahead and refresh a few times here, we can see it shows my real IP address again in the moment between the old server and the new server. And then I can refresh again and it shows the new IP as expected. But I think this is a big problem because this is not how Proton documents their kill switch working, and it's also not really how people expect a kill switch to work. And Proton has known about this issue for a while now. I've seen it posted quite a bit on the internet. I can go back to this post 3 years ago, for example, where someone reported this exact issue, and Proton basically said the kill switch should indeed be activated when you switch from one server to another. This issue was reported again on their subreddit a year ago. Apparently, there was some drama about Proton deleting the original post, but whatever. But the problem with this post is that this poster really focused on a lot of different issues. Two of these issues are just manually disconnecting from the server, which Proton, in their documentation, they do say they don't cover. But then the third issue, again, is when you switch VPN locations with the kill switch enabled, the VPN leaks your data by disconnecting without stopping an internet connection. And unfortunately, Proton, I think because of all of this going on, they laser focused in on the first 2 points and did not really address this third case, switching between servers. And the original poster here replied, clarifying this, that switching networks was the main problem, and Proton never responded to this. But we've also seen for at least the past few months here that this has been discussed on the Privacy Guides forum. This was in December of 2025, and this links to the same issue. And as you can see, there's 305 posts in this thread, so it got a lot of traction and discussion where we did confirm that this was an issue. I will say Proton's account has been active on this forum, not in this thread, but in other threads. So, I know that they could at least be aware of this. I think probably 3 years since the original report that I found, which could be longer, is enough time for them to react to this. And especially because their documentation is very not clear. So if we look at their kill switch documentation, for example, they do say the regular kill switch feature, not the advanced kill switch feature, will protect you when you're switching between servers. They explicitly say this. And if you remember from that other Reddit thread, the other features would require the advanced kill switch, which is true, but the regular kill switch does protect you when you're switching servers. And then they do have a note below that which says there are some issues with how the kill switch works on macOS, but they don't talk about this issue at all. In fact, they say, they talk about this vulnerability that they found where the operating system will make connections to Apple services no matter what VPN you're using, which is more of an Apple problem, certainly, than a Proton VPN problem. But Proton specifically says this is mainly just certain DNS queries to Apple services, and that, again, the kill switch will block all Apple connections, which, as you can see at the beginning of this video, if I can make a full connection to a website in a web browser that reveals my real IP address. This isn't true. I can make a connection to any server and my IP address will be revealed. I obviously understand why this is happening. This is likely a Apple platform limitation with network extensions because you can see again in the video. At the moment my IP address was revealed to this server, it showed in system settings that the VPN was fully disconnected. I think from Apple's perspective, it was disconnected, and I think that switching servers in the Proton VPN client is basically the same from the operating system's perspective as manually disconnecting and reconnecting. But other VPN clients do protect against this on macOS. There are ways to mitigate this that might not be available on iOS, but are certainly available to Proton in this case if they wanted to implement them. And I think the bigger issue is that, again, Proton specifically says in no uncertain terms that this is not the case and that you will be protected on all of these operating systems that have a kill switch when you're switching servers. So I think this is very misleading. It certainly has caught a lot of people in our community by surprise when they found out about this, which I think indicates that this is a real problem and would certainly catch less technical users, especially the users that Proton seems to be catering to these days. I know our community skews more technical, and even most people seemed to not be aware that this was the case or happening here when it is. So, yeah, I think that Proton should fix this. There are tools available on macOS. They might not be available to network extensions like how their VPN runs. I know that iVPN and Mullvad, they have to basically create manual firewall rules to prevent something like this from happening, but that is an option on macOS because it is a more open operating system than iOS. Or Proton needs to update their documentation to make this more clear because they are clearly stating something that is simply not true. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Hopefully, Proton gets it figured out.